Rallies hitting the streets of D.C. on tax day. One group in particular gathering at the Capitol, not to protest against tax increases, but rather against a new EPA rule. Representatives from across the home remodeling industry are voicing concerns that new big government regulation in small businesses will increase client costs and is the wrong way to go. Joining us now with his take is Congressman Tim Bishop, who is scheduled to meet with the remodelers later today. Mr. Bishop, talk to me about this new EPA rule. What are the costs and benefits, and how damaging to the remodeling industry?
Well, what's damaging to the remodeling industry is the date for the implementation of the rule. Virtually everyone associated with the remodeling industry that I've spoken with has taken no issue with the rule itself. They recognize that it's rooted in maintaining health and public safety. They just take issue with the fact that the implementation date, a week from today, is wholly unrealistic given the number of remodelers that are certified. It's a number that is far below what is necessary to maintain an appropriate level of business activity.
But are you satisfied, you yourself, satisfied that the EPA regs are necessary? I mean, regarding lead paint and so forth, I thought we had solved that years ago.
Well, this is a regulation that deals only with homes built before 1978, before lead paint was banned, and it's estimated that about half of the housing stock in the country was built before 1978, and it's estimated that about half of that is housing stock that contains lead paint. So I am satisfied that the rule makes good sense in terms of protecting not just the health of the people who live there, but also the health of the contractors. And as I say, that's the position of the vast majority of the contractors with whom I've talked about this issue. What is at issue is a deadline for implementation that is unrealistic and simply not practical.
There's a huge disparity, though, between what one side says this is going to cost and the other side. I mean, the remodelers are saying that the new rule could add $500 to $1,500 per job. The EPA says it's going to cost as little as $8 per job. What's up with that disparity?
Well, I can't account for the disparity, and I suspect that the truth is somewhere in the middle. I suspect that it's going to add a couple of $100 per job. And again, let us remember that this is rulemaking that has been in place since April of '08. So this is rulemaking that began under one administration, is now being carried forward by a second administration. My position and the position of many of my colleagues, simply, as I say, is let's get a realistic implementation date, one that contractors can live with, one that homeowners can live with.
Mr. Bishop, on a related subject, a lot of the Tea Party protesters are very much against the EPA because they fear backdoor cap and trade by EPA regulations on carbon. Your thought on backdoor cap and trade?
I don't think it's something we need to worry about. I mean, we have a climate change and energy independence legislation working its way through the Senate. It is bipartisan legislation. My understanding is it's something that is going to come forward in the not-too-distant future. So I think there's going to be a legislative remedy to an issue that we all ought to be worried about, and that is our dependence on foreign oil and on the carbon footprint that dependence gives us. And so I think that, as I say, there'll be a legislative remedy. We don't have to worry about the EPA imposing regulation.
Do you actually think cap and trade bill is going to pass this session of the Congress?
Well, it's not a cap and trade bill. It is a bill that deals with the issue of putting a price on carbon, and it is legislation that deals with the issue of our dependence on foreign oil and increasing domestic sources of energy. So it is legislation that walks a line and maintains a balance, and it is bipartisan.
But there will be strict limits on carbon. Many people believe those are huge tax cost increases on the economy.
My understanding of the bill as it has evolved thus far is that it is legislation that will deal just with the carbon footprint related to the transportation industry, an area where we've already made significant strides.
Okay, we got to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining.